Hello, dynamic speakers and coaches. Welcome to today's training. I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. I haven't been here in a while doing a live training inside the group. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and just tag a couple people that I saw were interested in joining us. I don't want anyone to miss out if they were planning to come. So, if you are here already, please say hello. I love to know who's watching in real time because I think it's always fun to, engage a little more with you guys, get to hear from you, get your feedback. All right, and then we're going to jump right in. Okay, so while I'm waiting for some more friends to join us, I will give you a brief little intro because I know we have a couple new people in the group this week. And maybe it's just been a while. Maybe you're like, I know I joined this group for a reason, but I can't remember what I'm doing here. And I like to remind you. So my name is Emanuela Hall. I am a speaking and visibility coach. I help female entrepreneurs to connect with and share their God-given voice, to tell their stories, and to become really dynamic speakers both online and on stages, so that they can captivate, connect with, and ultimately convert their audience and make a humongous impact. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. I'm a professionally trained theater actress. I went to musical theater school, and then I worked for 10 years as a workshop facilitator, facilitating performing arts workshops, helping people to share their stories and be creative. Then when the pandemic happened, I transitioned online. I'm also a certified 300-hour yoga instructor, and I started to coach entrepreneurs in 2020. I'm also a playwright. I wrote a one-woman play a couple years ago called My Breast Self, all about the struggles of new motherhood. So I'm very well versed in storytelling, connecting with your audience, performance, and that's kind of what led me down this path of helping people speak. And so I come at it from a different perspective than maybe somebody who's done just strictly public speaking, okay? Because my background is really creativity and performance, and I love helping people tap into that, tap into their innate creativity and helping them express it in any way they want to, right? So it's not about having like a perfect presentation all the time, right? I realized early on that I'm not here to help people who love wearing blazers. If you love wearing blazers, rock on with your bad self. But I love helping dynamic, creative women to express themselves without fear, to really find their God-given voice so they can express it fully. All right, now I've got some questions for you. If you are watching the replay, drop a hashtag replay. Today we are talking about how you can connect with your audience better every time you speak. Okay, so again, if you're here live, say hello. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I just want to know, who are you? What do you do? What's your title? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you're like, I'm working on that title a little bit. Tell me, how do you help people? Tell me also, do you prefer live video or do you prefer speaking in front of a bunch of people in the real world? So do you prefer video content or do you prefer live? You can put a V for video and an L for live in real life. Because I find people often struggle with one or the other. So I love getting a sense of what it is that all of you in this group feel like you struggle with the most. For these purposes, I'm usually helping people with video content in terms of visibility as well. But I do find that some people have the opposite problem, right? They love talking on camera, but if they're in a room full of like 100 people, it gets a little bit scary. So just let me know. I want to know a little more. And then finally, drop a 1. Drop a 1. If you do feel like connecting with your audience is something you struggle with, or maybe you don't even know if you struggle with it because it's very hard to quantify that, right? It's very difficult to be like, we connected. It's done. Right? So how do we know if we've connected? Well, there's usually a clear indicator if people come up to you afterwards and tell you, I really connected with your talk. Or if during the talk, you can feel their energy, you can feel that they are super engaged, they're on the edge of their seat, they're laughing at your jokes, they're answering the questions, right? They're there, they're in it. And that can be really tricky on camera. So how do we do this as online entrepreneurs? How do we get that kind of connection, right? Well, again, people might inbox you, they might leave comments saying that was really powerful, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And maybe they'll come and become a customer, become a client, right? So we're going to talk about before and during your talk, because both pieces really do matter. And I want you to think of 3 things: who, what, and how. And I would say that who and how are more important than what. You've probably heard the expression, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It is very true, right? Even in our own day-to-day life with a significant other or a friend or a family member, you're like, well, I just didn't like the way you said it. So how does matter? But in this sense, we really want to know who. Because how will change depending on who you're talking to. Okay, so let's jump in. Right? Now you know who I am. You know what we're going to be talking about. If you're here for it, say, I'm here for it. Woo woo. Hello, Celeste. Nice to see you. All right. So first, before you jump on to a live like this, or a recorded piece of content, or maybe even a sales call, or maybe a live talk, what do you do? I'm going to be asking you a series of questions, really. What do you do to prep yourself? Do you prep yourself? Do you take a moment or take a significant amount of time to connect to you? Okay, so first we want to think of, when it comes to before our talk, we want to think of you and who. First, you start with you. Because if you are off, if you are not feeling in your highest, self, in your best vibrations, then that's going to affect who you're talking to. This is scientific. We know that everything is energy. And I'm sure you felt it, right? You've been in a great mood, and then maybe you bump into somebody on the street and they're like, wow, I've had all this stuff happen, and you're like, and now you've taken that on. So do you have a process? Do you have rituals before you speak that are going to help you self-regulate, that are going to help you not just emotionally and mentally get prepared, but also physically? Because how we exist in our bodies sends a message. If I was talking like this, if I was shifting around, right, this sends a much different message than if I'm like this. So often the stresses of regular life is going to happen. They will affect our physical body and the way that we express it in the world. And that's going to have an effect on our audience. So let's start with, you want to connect with your audience? You got to connect with yourself first. Okay? If you don't have the tools, you are like, okay, but how do I do that? How do I just put aside the things that happened so that I can be present, so that I can bring my best self to the table when I speak? And you need to get inside of the Captivating Speakers Academy because I'm going to teach you all that. Okay? We're going to start with body and breath before we do anything else. It makes such a difference, my friends. Such a difference. Then we're going to move on to who, right? So once you've got the you, once you've prepped yourself mentally and physically, vocally, then you're going to think of the who. I want you to visualize. Do you know? Do you know who you're talking to? What does she look like? Roughly, how old might she be? But more importantly than demographics is, what does she desire? What's in her heart? What does she need you to tell her today? I know that so many of us entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, we really struggle with the ideal client. It's like, I don't want to narrow myself down. I don't want to only talk to one person. But when it comes to actually speaking on camera, it's so much easier for you and for your audience if you're crystal clear on who that person is. Because then they will feel seen, they will feel heard, they will feel understood. And it's much better to make an impact on one person than try to impact everyone and therefore impact no one. Okay? So do you know who you're talking to? Do you have a clear picture? Sometimes I'll tell my clients, put a picture up. You can find a stock photo online, create your avatar. But it's often people that are already asking you questions. People that are already in your inbox, in your space, following you. Maybe they haven't signed up yet, but you know you can help them. And then when you go to talk, what do you want them to do? We call that having an objective. That is method acting 101. And yes, I use that with my clients. Because even though you're not acting, you're not saying somebody else's lines, the rules for connection are the same. When you are out with a friend, you might not know mentally what your objective is, but you have an objective. You want to have a good time. You want them to have a good time. Right? When you're on a romantic date with your loved one, your significant other, you might want to feel more connected to them. So what do you want this dream potential client, this dream audience member, as I like to call it, what do you want them to do? Okay? Have all this ready before you talk. Get yourself ready and get to know who you're talking to. Okay. If you just do this piece, honestly, during the talk, it's going to go a lot better. You could just go on and talk about bananas. But if you're really connected to yourself and to who you're talking to, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. They're just going to be they're going to be attracted to your energy, to your presence, to the sound of your voice. My goodness, my friends, I could talk about this till the cows come home, but the sound of your voice matters too. The inflection, the way you're using it. And that may seem really artificial at first, but like everything, you have to learn the technique and then your body just does it. Then it's muscle memory. And if you want to learn that technique, I'm going to teach it inside the Captivating Speakers Academy. We're going to go through it piece by piece by piece. Okay, so now let's talk about during. First of all, Is this landing? I see a couple more people have joined us. Hello, Detrell. Hello, Shay. If you're watching the replay, I still want you answering my questions. Is this landing? Do you have any questions about what to do before you speak? I don't hear anything. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I noticed I didn't talk about your script. We're going to talk about what in a second. And I also have, I just want to say this here. I have the on-camera checklist. If you don't have it yet, you should have it if you're in this group. I usually give it to group members, but if you don't have it yet, just drop checklist in the comments and I will send it to you, my friend. It's free and it's a great checklist to go through before you hit record. Okay, so you've done all the prep work. Feeling good, right? You've shaken out whatever happened to you before. Now you're here. Are you grounded? Do you even know what that means? This is not grounded. It's like, it's a lot of energy that's moving around, and it's not like I'm saying you have to be still all the time, especially if you're live, you want to walk, you want to move your body, but we want it to be intentional. So do you have a presence of assuredness and authority? And when I say authority, I don't mean like authority over other people. Like, I'm going to tell them what's what. I mean, does your presence convey trust? Does it allow your audience to trust you? You know, I see this a lot in our institutions. I'll use the medical institution for a minute. Now, nowadays people have a little less trust. However, I see this in older generations, right? It's like, well, the doctor said, and they know what they're talking about because they went to medical school. They are the authority. So what makes you the authority? And have you owned that authority? I don't care what certifications you have. You are worthy of sharing your voice because you have one. You're worthy of sharing your voice because you are a unique, unrepeatable human being. And I know you can help people. And I'm sure you have evidence that you can help people. So ask yourself, what am I not owning? If I own that, can I embody it in the way that I carry myself, in the way that I speak, in the way that I show up on my social media and for my potential clients? Next, are you listening? Are you listening? And this can be, we can think that this is really hard in a virtual space, right? But I just asked you, do you have questions? So during your talk, are you listening? And before your talk, are you asking your audience? I put out a poll on Monday. What do you guys want to know about? And this was the number one topic. I was listening. If you're doing a live talk, if everyone's feeling very agitated, right? Sometimes I do workshops with kids and I have to do a lot of breath work because there's a lot of energy. And if I'm doing workshops with seniors, I do a lot of physical movement to get the energy up. Can you listen, not just with your ears, but with your intuition, to the energy in the room so you can adapt and modify and connect with them. Okay, listening is so huge as a speaker. Are you asking questions? Are you checking in? I want you to ask yourself, how can I get them involved more? How can I be more engaging? How can I let them speak to me? Maybe it's looking right in the camera hole and just taking a moment and saying, I see you. Maybe it's making eye contact with the person in the front row in your live talk. How can you listen to them? By asking them to engage with you. Are you using a range of emotions? If you're doing a talk, you don't want to be authority. I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to write it all down on the whiteboard because this is a school lesson. Let your personality come through. That might mean being excited if you're excited. Might be being really serious for serious topics. It might mean being a little bit vulnerable. And did you see how every time I spoke about those things, my delivery changed, my tone changed? I teach that inside the Captivating Speakers Academy. Okay, this is all part of it. Objective, delivery. We have very short attention spans, my friends. If you want people to keep watching, you gotta have some range. You gotta have some pauses. And then grab them with something really exciting. You're seeing like the most dramatic version of it right now. I'm doing it over the top on purpose. I don't like my lighting. Gonna make it brighter. Okay. So, let's recap. You gotta get ready before. Think of you and who. Then during. All that stuff's just gonna happen, right? If you do the who and you, you're gonna be more grounded. You're going to have more authority in your presence, and you're going to be listening more and engaging more because you've done all the prep work. See how that works? So great. Now let's talk really briefly about the what. If you are speaking to the heart of your dream audience member, then you will know what they desire, what they fear, what their pain is, what they want. So you can talk about that. You can also talk about your why, and you can talk about what you're passionate about. Because if you're talking about things that you think you have to, okay, I'm going to use an example. Say you are a health and fitness coach. There's probably certain areas that you're really excited about. Maybe you are really passionate about helping women regulate their hormones during specific times of their life, maybe menopause. But maybe you're not so big on showing someone how to do a cardio workout, right? There's a lot of stuff within that topic. I see a lot of other speaking coaches teaching a lot of different things, and that works for them. But if I'm not connected to it, I think, oh, should I be talking about that? Oh, maybe I should do a reel about that because they did it. But if you're not connected to it, if you're not like, yes, this is fire. I want you to speak with fire. And we don't speak with fire by talking about things we think we're supposed to be talking about. We talk about fire when we're connected to our material. A lot of times, the thing your ideal client needs to hear is what you've already been through. Maybe they need to hear something that happened to you that day, an aha moment. It can be big things, it can be little things. That comes from knowing your client, your audience member. Okay. So if you're like, yes, I need to just dig in more to what I loved sharing, what's inside of me, and what they want, and connect to them before I go to speak. The fire is going to come. Trust it. So we do the work in our bodies, in our voices, in our mindset. We practice the delivery in different ways, and then we let it go. It's like you're studying for a test or an exam, and then you just got to write the thing, right? But you've already learned it. So you're not every time being like, what do I do? Oh my gosh. I mean, they can always be a little stressful. If you're like, yeah, you know what? I need to know. I need a little more concrete steps. I'm one of these like step-by-step people. You don't have to keep trying to figure it out on your own. Like, is this coming across? Am I connecting? What could I be doing better that's going to help people connect more? All of that stuff that's swirling around in your head when it comes to speaking or creating video, you're going to learn it in the 4-step method, the 4-step Captivate method. It is the formula that you can follow. You can check it off if you're like me. Okay, I've warmed up this, I've done that, I've connected to this. Now I can go and do it. And you can trust yourself. So really, it's about getting out of your head, getting into your body. If you want to do that, if you want to be less stressed about it, if you want to overthink it a little less, then join us inside the Captivating Speakers Academy. We start October 17th. The price right now is $777, and it's going to be going up on Friday to $999, and then eventually it'll be $11.11. Okay? So if you're like, yeah, I'm tired of winging it, I'm tired of overthinking it, I'm tired of not knowing if this is landing, I need somebody else to see. We're going to work it through, we're going to follow this method, and you're going to be dynamite. Fire. Okay, friends. If you want more info, just drop a Captivate in the comments. I'll send you a link with all the details. Okay? If you have any questions about anything I said today, please let me know. Let me know how this is going, how this is resonating, so I can make more content for you, more trainings. And have yourselves a lovely Wednesday. Bye.